So growing up, did you always know you wanted to take over the business, or did you think?
You know, I didn't think my father would ever let me because I grew up in the 60s. And all he could think about was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And he did not want us getting involved. And he knew I loved music. I always did. But then as I got older and we began to be able to talk and communicate and like each other, I was living out west in Colorado and Washington State. My mother developed breast cancer, and my father wanted me to come home and help her out. And of course I wanted to. And that he said, if you need work, I'd like for you to take over the studio. He had some guys running the studio who were less than favorable. They were taking advantage of my father and another investor. And when I saw what was going on, I just fired them both and got new people to get involved.
Okay, so when you took over, what artists were working at the studio?
I can go ahead. See, I think the yard people are here and asking the same thing.
Yeah.
Y'all keep going.
Okay, we'll keep going. At that time, we started with new artists.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Sam Shan was still coming around,
Okay.
and we recorded 21 new songs of his.
Okay.
And who else was? Oh, we recorded some new people. Were a guy by the name of Demetrius, who went on to get a deal with Motown. And just this year he died. And I think he had heart disease. Then we had an artist by the name of Tequila Kelly, and we had high hopes for her. But she got married, had children, and it sort of ended her career at that time. Now she's trying to restart it more of it as a jazz singer instead of a pop singer. Then we worked with a group here in Memphis called The Crime, and Ransom was a rock group. And can you think of who else was out of Memphis? Oh, Irma Shaw. She was a Memphis artist who was part of the older era and the newer era, and she was doing quite well. She recorded with Willie Mitchell as well as with us.
So who are some of the artists that you're working with today? I know you talked a little about Sierra Wallette.
Sierra, by far, is one we have high hopes for right now. We've been meeting with, I told you, Universal,
Yeah.
Warner Brothers, Major Bob, and a man by the name of Pat Higdon, and Adele Bobo too, who is with Big Deal Music, and everybody's showing some interest in Sierra. They're having her come to Nashville to co-write with their seasoned writers. And we'd love to break her out in Memphis.
Yeah.
And, but she'll, the deal will come from Nashville more than likely.
So how do you find talent you want to work with now? Do you seek a
God, it finds us on our website.
Okay.
It really does.
And so is that what happened with her? Like she sent you in some stuff she done?
A guy I knew from Oxford, Mississippi introduced me to her. And what's so awesome about her, she has a unique, different voice. And some of the songs she's been recording lately, they're from some writers in Nashville. One guy she co-wrote with. In fact, Brandon's been putting that together lately. Then another one I'd like to mention is a Memphis artist by the name of Chris Ackland. Do y'all know him at all? And he performs all around Memphis, and we work with him too. In fact, tonight, which show is Chris and Sierra going to be doing?
Delta Fair.
Delta Fair. At what time, 7? Okay. And then we have another one, Ruthie Schaefer. In fact, her father's a professor at Rhodes
Okay.
in English. Did he ever come up to you and say hi?
No. But
Said he's going to,
Okay, yeah.
because he came
Which
over to
professor
my
is that?
house.
Okay.
Do you know him?
No, I don't actually.
He's an administrator now.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
So.
Yeah, I thought he was on up there.
Mhm.
And his daughter is really, really unique and good. And she goes to school, is it St. Louis, Missouri? So she's out of town right now, but very different voice. In the summers, we have a rock group that they're in the process right now of working with the new producer, kind of changing their image a little bit, softening it from hard rock to a little bit softer rock. Not too soft, but a little softer.
So what are some of the projects that you're the most proud of that you've gotten to work on, or that have that your company has worked on in the past?
In the past, I would say, let me mention Dan Greer's, the latest CD we've had come out. We did a record deal with Ace Records on the older catalog, and we've put out about 15 CDs with Ace of all the songs from the early 60s on to the middle 80s. And then since that time, we've put them out ourselves through the Orchard and on iTunes and Amazon. I think I'm really proud of the work I did with Irma Shaw. I was really proud of the work I did with Tequila. And now I'd have to say it's Sierra. I feel very strong. And some of the older people, Barbara Brown by far. She worked at she sang at the Apollo. They're from Chicago. And she was at Stax too. And when it took me years to find her, people kept calling me saying they were Barbara Brown, and they weren't. And I finally found her through BMI. And she was living outside of Chicago. And once I got to start talking to her, she died last year. I hated her dying because at least she got to hear all of her stuff. Her grandchildren were saying, Grandma, your records are on iTunes. And this is like 40 years had passed. So I was proud of that, and she made quite a bit of money from that too.